Now, we've all had periods of self-doubt, and author Bree Stedman wrote a book on how it affects women titled Own Your BS, the no-nonsense guide to addressing your female head talk. Bree, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Of course. And you know, this is all about emotional control, right?
Yes.
And the idea that you can control your thoughts and make yourself feel better if you're feeling negative. So what led you to really get into female head talk?
There's a couple of two things really. Firstly, I come from an industry where it was very heavily female dominated. I worked with a team of 120 women, so I was responsible for training them and for helping to nurture their success. And I could see that regardless of the skills that I gave them, I could only take them so far because they would get to a point and then their self-doubts would creep in and they would sabotage themselves. Now, second to that was my own head talk. I had on the surface my own stuff all looking like it was well polished and put together, but internally I felt like a fraud. I felt like I wasn't good enough and I was just faking it and not really worthy of where I was at. So,
like I said, I think we all go through that, and there are different forces that affect men and women differently that leads to this. But specifically, you know, define head talk for us, because people may be listening to that. You know, what does that mean exactly?
So head talk is the stories that distract you from the reality of what you're living. They keep you awake at night. Things like, I can't do it, I'm not good enough, she's better than me. You know, when we overanalyze the situation before actually living it, so we create a worst case scenario before we even give it our best shot. This is the head talk that I'm talking about because it has the ability to sabotage and destroy everything that we want in our life.
And you mentioned the fact that women tend to repeat stories more than men. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so in the women's brains, we connect emotion to stories far more often than men. And what happens is every time we go down a path line where we're telling ourselves a story, such as we're not good enough or she's better than I am, we connect whatever emotion it is, such as doubt or insecurity, to that story. Now, unconsciously, the brain then goes, oh, hang on a minute, she's going down this story of not feeling good enough, so let's remind her of all of the instances in her past where she's also felt not good enough, and that then creates this cycle of negative thinking. So for a man, they can easily go, well, I recognise that I'm telling myself a story right now and it's not serving me, let's just stop and change the subject. But women, because we tie the emotion to it, we get distracted and caught up.
Well, and it's not completely their fault. I mean, there are physiological reasons like hormones, right?
Yes.
And what impact do those have?
Oh, so hormones impact every aspect of a female's life. Regardless of the menstrual cycle, and this is something that a lot of clients say to me, well, I don't have a menstrual cycle, Bree. Doesn't matter whether you have a menstrual cycle or not, up until the day you die, women have a hormone cycle that impacts everything from appetite, sleep, energy, and negative thinking. So depending on where you're at in your cycle, those progesterone and estrogen levels are going to impact your ability to be able to see clearly.
Right, and you won't be able to achieve, you know, your potential. If you're self-doubting, if you're talking yourself out of it, you're not going to get there. So let's put a stop to this. What would you say to women listening right now to stop this head talk? Okay,
so my top tips for really helping you to get out of head talk is firstly to recognise what it is that you're actually saying to yourself. So grab a piece of paper and write down the exact thoughts that you're having, and then rather than analysing the actual thought, take it deeper. What is that story causing you to feel? Because it's the emotion of what you're saying to yourself that's actually keeping you trapped in the story. And the moment you start to recognise, okay, this story is making me feel unworthy, it's making me feel doubt, it's making me feel angry, or whatever it might be, the moment you name the emotion, you're creating a break in your brain that's creating space from the story and then allowing you to do something with it. When you know what the emotion is, then you can get a little bit more logical with your thoughts and say, okay, well, if I'm feeling angry, what can I do in this moment to help bring emotional confidence back to my actions right now?
Wow. Well, this is just one of the things that they can find in your book. You know, it's so impressive what you can learn by reading it. And really quick, in the little time we have left, what makes it different than other self-help books?
My book is a no-nonsense, no fluff, straight to the point book. I wrote it with the intent to give you a practical guide to be able to really take emotional control back, so that you're not just spending 300 pages understanding why things are happening to you, but you're actually given tools and strategies to take it to the next step and bring power back to your hands.
Well, Bree, there's something so powerful about that no-nonsense approach, definitely. And I want to thank you for joining us today. You came all the way from Australia with your beautiful family. And thank you guys for joining us here in the studio today.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Now, Bree's book, Own Your BS, is available, and right now you can order it for $19.95 with free shipping if you visit breestedman.com/book.